We've got some bans, we've got some potential spoils for Corsa 2021, and we now officially know when the spoils are going to start. So a lot of stuff to talk about, and we'll check this out. What's up, guys? It's MTG Matt for you, and today we're here with a video. Let me adjust it a bit. Yeah, this is about right. We're here with a video today about the news surrounding Magic these days. So we've got the upcoming 2021 core set. We've got some potential spoilers, some rumors, and we've also got standard bannings. And thank you, Wizard, for that. So for those of you who don't know yet, but I'm sure most of you will know at this point, Fires of Invention got banned and Agent of Treachery got banned, and I've gotta say, I am so happy about that. I am more happy about Agent of Treachery because that card was just not fun at all. It was just a pain in the ass. In my opinion, Agent of Treachery was in standard, the only reason that the Winota deck was broken at all, or like not fun at all to play against. Because all the other cards in Winota's deck are pretty fair, and you know, Winota's just a deck where you want to have an explosive turn with a lot of creatures on board. And I'm very fine with that in Boros colors. That's what Boros is supposed to do. Doesn't seem unfair to me. Just Agent of Treachery made this deck really unfair and really unfun to play against. And then all these other stuff with like Agent of Treachery and Fasa combo, flickering it, and blah 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 blah. You get the idea. I'm very happy. I think Wizard of the Coast made a great decision there. So that's number one. Agent of Treachery is banned. Number two, Fires of Invention is banned. I don't feel as strongly about Fires of Invention. I'm still happy that it got banned because Fires of Invention was just this kind of card where if you had red in your deck and you didn't play like an aggro deck, even if it was just a mid-range deck, you basically had to put it in there. And if you didn't, you really missed out on a big advantage you could have, right? And I think when there are cards in the meta that are like that, when you as a player, you're willing to maybe experiment, try out new stuff, but then every time you want to try out new stuff, you basically come to the same conclusion. Well, doesn't matter what kind of deck I build, I should include this specific card. That I think this is not good for the meta. So I'm also happy that Fires of Invention got banned. I really think that this is going to make the meta fresh, especially because like basically destroys decks like Jeskai Fires now, right? Grixis Fires was also around. So also makes these whole combos with Pharaoh of Wishes less powerful. I think all in all, very reasonable to ban Fires of Invention. And I'm very, very happy about both those bans. It's going to make the meta feel more fresh. And then especially with the new upcoming expansion, I think that's really, really good. So those are the banning announcements. These are the things that we know and that I want to cover. And now one of my favorite parts, every time a new expansion comes up, let's get into the rumors and everything. For the last expansion, I already had like a rumor style video where the Narset Planeswalker got leaked, which then actually was in the actual expansion, just with the slight difference in the +1 loyalty ability. And so there's the article here, you can see it on the screen from MTG Arena Zone about leaks and rumors, and it basically refers to potential leaks on the Reddit post. And this Reddit post is supposed to be kind of credible because there has been a rules change in the companion rules, which I'll talk about in a second, which had been basically also announced in that Reddit post and which turned out to be true. So this Reddit post seems to have some credibility. So we also look at the potential card leaks here. And yeah, exactly, rules change for companions. So companion has been obviously caused some problems in some formats. So Wizards decided to change the companion mechanic, which is that Companion still works. You still have your deck requirements. It's still in your sideboard, but you can, anytime you could cast a sorcery, you can pay 3 colorless mana to put a companion from the sideboard into your hand, which means that basically you now have 2 added layers of, how could you say, playing the companion as it used to be, like just very easily from exile. So the first layer here is obviously you have to pay extra mana, so you have to pay extra 3 colorless mana if you want to play Commander. Second layer of protection here is the companion actually goes into your hand. So let's say you pay the 3 mana to put the companion into your hand, but then you don't play it right away. Your opponent could use discard effects to get rid of the companion. So overall, this changes the dynamic of the companion decks a lot. I think this mainly got done, for example, like because of what's the name? What's the name of the cat? The cat companion. Lurus of the Dream Den, exactly. I think this guy was a big problem. Yeah, so that's the rules change. So to sum it up, 2 bannings, Agent of Treachery, Fires of Invention, and then we've got the rules change for Companion. So these are the facts so far. Just quickly on the Companion mechanic, I don't have a big opinion on it yet. Just from my player experience, like I'm only speaking for standard matter, and I'm only speaking as a MTG Arena player. I didn't feel like that the companion mechanic was that toxic, or how you would say it. I think it was pretty fine. And I think what I kind of feel, let's say, a bit sad about is that there were some companions that weren't played that often in standard, right? For example, I think it's called Zurda, which used the mana cost of activated abilities. And those companions that didn't see a lot of play before the nerf now won't see any play at all, I think, which is kind of a shame. But I still get it because I think the Yorion deck, which was a bit of bullshitty. And yeah. Okay, so far for the bannings, rules changes. Let's get into the actual rumors. Let's get into the fun part. So, I'm not going to go through this article. I put a link to it in the description. You can read through it yourself. We just go through the potential spoilers and then also where basically spoilers come from. It's from post Mark Rosewarne made. So, these are the rumors. So, Eugen or whatever, the Spirit Dragon, might return with Course at 21-1. Obviously, a very powerful card. It's an 8 colorless mana Planeswalker with 7 loyalty. And the abilities of it being you can +2, and it deals 3 damage to a creature or player. So, some nice removal. 3 damage is a lot, and also hurts players a lot. Then the -X ability is very huge. You can -X for -X loyalty, and then exile each permanent with convert mana cost X or less. That's 1 or more colors. So most of the time, basically all of the permanents you or your opponents control are going to be colored, except when you build your deck around Eugen probably. And that's like a huge board wipe because it's each permanent, and so it hits planeswalkers, artifacts, enchantments, creatures, everything, right? And also it comes with 7 loyalty, so it's very likely to hit everything you want to hit. So basically you put this down for 8 mana and can exile everything on the board, and exile is obviously a lot better than destroy. So really, really powerful effect here, really powerful board wipe. And then if your opponent can deal with it, you can just +2 every turn, so it gets its loyalty back pretty fast, right? And then the ultimate, -10, you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand to the battlefield. Obviously crazy bonkers. It's not a new card, and yeah, if this happens to be in Course at 2021, it's obviously going to be very, very powerful. And when I saw this card, I was thinking It's colorless mana, so it might be very interesting with Titan's Nest, right? Which lets the exile cards from the graveyard to get colorless mana. So that's one cool idea. Next up, we've got Grim Tutor, 3 mana black card. It's a sorcery. Search your library for any card and put that card into your hand. You lose 3 life. So Tutor for any card in your deck. For 3 mana, at sorcery speed, you lose 3 life. Tutors are very powerful, obviously. The 3 mana should be worth the effect. Can be very powerful in combo decks. Although I don't know about any, like, how would you say, meta-defining combo deck right now. Also not in black, but it's just one of these cards that it's just a good standalone powerful card and can find its way in a lot of decks, right? Then Birds of Paradise might see a reprint. If that happens, then Birds of Paradise is probably going to be the mana dork of choice over Gilded Goose, because it does have 1 less toughness, but it comes without the restriction of needing a food token. So yeah, I think if Birds of Paradise gets reprinted, then this is going to be the best mana dork in the game, because it's the 1-drop, has no restriction, is flying, and it's 1 mana of any color, so very powerful. So yeah, so these were the cards that are going to be reprints, right? So that's why we have nice little pictures here. And then we have some more rumors, potential spoilers without any names. We just have basically what the card is doing and what card type it is, but we don't have a name or artwork. But anyway, so first card here, can you actually see this on the screen? Yeah, you can still see this. Okay. It's a blue instant for 2 mana. Let's draw a card and then draw another card for each copy of something in your graveyard. I suppose it's a copy of each of that card in your graveyard. So if you would play this card the first time, you would draw 1 card. Then 1 copy of this card would be in your graveyard. If you play the second time, you would have 1 copy of that card in your graveyard. So you would draw 2 cards, and then for the next of those cards, 3 and so on. Is that worth it at 2 mana? I think it might be a better Radical Idea, and Radical Idea can sometimes be valuable, although it's not completely comparable, because Radical Idea lets you discard a card, which you sometimes want to, and Radical Idea is also 2 instant casts, which is nice for triggered abilities on instants, right? I don't know about this card. Seems okay. Probably not that great, but maybe it's cool. Next up, an supposedly efficient black removal. So 2 mana, black instant. Destroy target creature or planeswalker with CMC 3 or less. So we have almost the same card right now in standard from Ikoria that lets you destroy creature with CMC 2 or less. Creature, not a planeswalker, and it's CMC 2 or less, but it can also be cycled for 2 mana. This card lets you destroy planeswalker also, and for CMC 3 or less. I think if this card turns out to be true, it's an excellent removal spell, because the difference between 3 and 2 MC is huge, especially for planeswalkers. Because right now in standards, there are only planeswalkers that are CMC 3 or higher. So you can destroy a Teferi with this, which is very cool, right? And yeah, I mean, destroy target creature for 2 mana is also just strictly better. Like, not strictly better than Murder, because Murder destroys everything. I think if this gets printed, just a very solid card. Ooh, now this might be interesting. White defensive creature with card drawing abilities. So white often has very much like a lot of problems with card draw. And so let's look into it. Might cost 4 mana, 3 and a white with lifelink. It's 2/4. which says whenever 2 or more creatures attack you or a planeswalker you control, you may draw a card. And whenever an opponent casts a second spell turn, you may draw a card. Now, I think the idea behind this card is that you read this first line of text, right? Whenever 2 or more creatures attack you, when is that going to happen? If you play against an aggro deck, right? So if you play against an aggro deck, you get card draw and your creature has lifelink, so you get a double benefit. But what if you play against control? Control doesn't have a lot of creatures on board a lot of times. Well, but control might cast more than one spell each turn, so in that case you may also draw a card. The creature costs 4 mana though. I don't know. It's one of those cards you probably definitely want to try out, just because it gives you mana draw, card draw in white, right? At 3 mana, I'm pretty sure this would be super good. At 4 mana, I'm not that sure. It's got 4 toughness though, so it's not that easy to remove. And I'm not... Like, against aggro, this is awesome, right? Sorry. You get a creature with lifelink that lets you draw cards. Seems pretty good. Yeah, I know 4 mana seems a bit much, but this is one that you want to try out. Next up, now this one is interesting. It's in Gruul colors for 3 mana, 1 red and a green. And it says, as long as it's your turn, this card has first strike. Okay. It's a 3 mana 3/3 by the way. So on your turn it's very solid, right? 3 mana 3/3 first strike. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library if it's a land card. Okay. And activate ability 4 red green, so 6 mana. This card gets plus X plus X, where X is equal to the number of lands you control. Wow. So if you just activate the ability on curve, so to say, it gets plus 6 on the land of turn for 6 mana. So just further, I think this would be a great card. 3 mana 3/3 is just vanilla stats, right? On your turn it has first strike, but playing the land card from top of your library is very powerful because it's basically draw a card and like get rid of a card from top of your deck you actually don't want to draw. Like you always want to have, that's the paradox, right? I guess in Magic, you always want to have land draws, or you always want to have lands on the battlefield, but you don't want to draw them because you also always want to draw cards you can actually do stuff with. So I think this card could be really good because I was thinking this is Gruul, right? Gruul is can play very aggressively, and then the problem is when you play very aggressively, you run out of steam very fast. So imagine you have this card on the board and the new Vivian Planeswalker. The new Vivian Planeswalker says that you may play cards from top of your library if they are a creature card. Now, if you build a deck only consisting of Vivians as the only Planeswalker, land cards and creature cards, and you have both of them on the battlefield, because of this card, you can play... oh, actually, sorry, you can't see it probably. Actually, let's move it here. I shouldn't have done this earlier. So if you have both of these on the battlefield, because of this card, you can play all the lands from the top of your deck, and then because of Vivian, you can play the creature cards from the top of your deck every time, basically drawing cards, which is really powerful. I like this card. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be solid. It's not going to be super duper crazy, but cool card. And yeah, as we know, Teferi is going to be the featured Planeswalker, of course, at 2021. This can be interesting because the current Teferi in the meta is kind of hated for good reasons. So it's going to be interesting what those new Teferis might look like. And here is a supposedly new Teferi. 4 mana in mono blue, which has you can use new Teferi's ability anytime you can play an instant. Now, I wonder, because I actually don't know the rules about this, if you may activate a loyalty ability as an instant, are you allowed to use it on your turn and then again on your opponent's turn? I don't know actually. Because if so, then it's actually is quite powerful, because you get to use Teferi's loyalty abilities twice instead of just once per turn, so to say. And yeah, that would be pretty powerful. But let's look at the loyalty abilities. So the +1 is draw a card and discard a card. It's a loot. It's okay. It's not amazing. Although I would like to note that this Teferi starts at 5 loyalty. So basically if you +1 him, he's already at 6 loyalty. It's rather hard to remove. And you get to loot. Looting is nice, also for a control deck, right? Or if in decks that actually want to discard cards. Okay, that's the +1, just basic loot. We know it's useful, it's nothing out of the ordinary. -3, target creature you don't control phases out. So phase out is this very old mechanic. It's kind of like a flicker. The creature phases out, and then I think it returns before your upkeep, before you untap. So if you phase something out, if you were to phase out, for example, your own land, it would return before your upkeep and then untap in your untap step. So as a -3, can get rid of a huge thing from your opponent, right? Now, if your opponent's creature is scary and has an enter the battlefield effect, it gets triggered again. So you don't want that, but it gets phased out, so it doesn't get bounced or anything. It basically gets exiled, right? It's just flickered. And you can flicker your own stuff, so this might be useful. But just really, so far this placeholder just looks solid, you know. But yeah. And then -10. -10 on a 5 loyalty stun planeswalker. Take 2 extra turns after this one. Now this is the how could I say? How can I put this gently? This is the yeah. Welcome to Fairy in the meta ultimate. Obviously very hard to pull off 10 loyalty. Although if it turns out that you can activate loyalty ability of Teferi also on your opponent's turn, it's actually not that hard to pull off, right? Because basically you would cast Teferi +1 him. Would be a 6 loyalty, you pass your opponent, you +1. Would be a 7 loyalty, and then it's your turn again, opponent's turn, your turn, and then basically your third opponent's turn after you cast Teferi, you could get 2 extra turns, which is very powerful. So maybe some guys of you who watch this video who know better about what I'm talking about here. But yeah, taking 2 extra turns is obviously very, very powerful, and just getting there is it's just very difficult. So all in all, this Teferi just seems solid. Actually, I like this kind of because it has this very Teferi feel, right? You can draw cards, you can flicker stuff, you get to take 2 extra turns, but it's very hard to pull off. This looks to me like a Teferi planesword that's just good and solid, and won't like be so annoying as Teferi Time Raveler, hopefully. Okay. So there are more rumor cards, so stay with me here. And let's see. Oh yes, this is awesome. So when you look at this picture here, there seems to be like a hint from Wizards of the Coast that there's going to be an errata, which means that a creature type from the past is going to be considered a new creature type for the sake of, let's say, consistency. Or, Mark Rosewater said there's going to be a new tribal commander for a trial that's never seen a tribal commander before. And the rumor said it's going to be dogs, which would be Awesome. And the errata would be that hounds are now dogs, which would be really cool. There's this hint in this Twitter post here. Good, hound, dog, whatever. You get this thing. And what would the commander be like? It's here. Anaya Dog Lord for 4 mana, 1 colorless, and then Anaya colors. Whenever you cast a dog spell, create a 1/1 cat token. I really love this flavor. Whenever you cast a cat spell, create a 1/1 dog token. And then activate ability in Naya colors. Pay Naya colors, tap the Dog Lord. Dog Lord deals damage to any target equal to the number of dogs you control, and you gain life equal to the number of cats you control. And it's a 4/4. So I would love it if this were true and Wizard would actually push the dog tribal. And it's also an interesting commander, I think, because I don't think there is a lot of dog tribal creature cards in standard right now. I know there are some hound cards, but there are some cat cards, and actually cat is an okay tribal, has some support. So I don't know, just the ability to create tokens on cast triggers, I think is pretty powerful. Unfortunately, this doesn't give +1/+1 to all your dogs or all your cats or whatever. But this would sound really, really fun. So yeah. And then yeah, all the teasers you see, are kind of also linked to Mark Rosewater's Core Set 2021 teaser. So let's go through them quickly, but basically this just confirms some of the rumors or spoilers. So here is a +1/+1 tribal lord for a creature type that's never had done. So this is supposedly a dog. And actually +1/+1. So imagine this dog lord spoiler had +1/+1. It would be pretty powerful, I think. Okay, so this is what Mark Rosewater said. +1/+1 tribal lord, probably the dog lord. A character with a Vanguard card and legendary creature card gets a second of the latter. I have no idea what that means. A card that uses a non-evergreen named ability over 20 years old. So this would be the phasing part of the Teferi Planeswalker. Then a non-evergreen enchantment subtype returns. So this article speculates maybe Legendary Enchantment Shrine, which would be kind of supported by the fact that in the Historic Anthology 3, the shrines got into Magic Arena. Another thing that comes to mind is there also Tribal Enchantment would maybe support this dog theme. And then a popular character first introduced in flavor text. So this would hint to Eugen, which you can see here in the card Ghostfire. And then a French vanilla mythic rare. I've gotta say, I don't actually know what French vanilla mythic rare means. I have no idea, but this article speculates Baneslayer Angel would be, I guess, it's a 5-mana 5/5 angel that already got printed in Core Set 2010-2011. 5-mana 5/5 angel with flying, first strike, lifelink, and protection from demons and dragons. Yeah, just a powerful vanilla, obviously. A popular aura that started as part of a cycle. Article thinks it might be Rancor, which is a very powerful card. It's a 1 green aura enchantment. The enchantment gets +2/+0 and trample. And when Rancor is put into graveyard from the battlefield, return Rancor to its owner's hand. Very powerful. If you think about the enchantment Season of Growth kind of decks, you return it from a graveyard every time, so you have always an enchantment in your hand basically to get the card going again. Would be very powerful. Then a card with a unique protection. The article mentions Horizon Drake, which is a 3-mana 3/1 Drake in blue with flying and protection from lands. Yeah, it's indeed very unique. And then 2 cards play in tournaments that have been reprinted over 20 times with at least 5 different pieces of art. article supports might be Lightning Bolt, which would be very powerful. A card has never previously appeared in Premier set, would be a confirmation of Grim Tutor. And then a card that's never been reprinted before, which has a 2, 3, 5, and 6 all appear on the card. The article supports might be Lighthouse Chronologist, which is a 2-mana human wizard, starts as a 1/3. It has the level up mechanic. Level up is you pay the level up cost as a sorcery, and then put a level counter on the creature. And then the card tells you how this card changes on certain levels. So this starts as a 2-mana 1/3 human wizard, and then if you level up to at least level 4, it's a 2/4. And then if you level up to at least 7, so you would basically pay 2 mana, and then you would need to put in another 7 mana into this to reach level 7. It says at the beginning of each end step, if it's not your turn, take an extra turn after this one. So basically when it's your opponent's turn ends, on his end step, you take an extra turn after his step. So basically, if you get this to level 7, then it's your turn, you pass to your opponent makes his turn, and then your opponent passes to you, you've got 2 turns, you pass to your opponent passes, you got 2 turns again, and so on, you get the idea. Probably not that powerful because it's hard to pull that level 7 plus off, but if you do, it's very powerful. So yeah, these are rumors, bans, rule changes, pretty exciting stuff. And oh yeah, something else to note from this pick here, it says here very timely, June 4th at 7 AM Pacific time, twitch.tv/magic. This is where the announcement stream is going to be. I'm going to be there too. Hope you tune in to this too. It's only 2 days left. So we're getting to the spoiler season, very exciting. I love it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I see you guys soon.